Very passable trails this morning. I'll get my boat. Hey folks, I'm the Shasta one, and I'm out here getting lost in the woods 1 week before my second ever 50K trail race. And I thought, since I'm out here on my lonesome anyway, that I might as well talk you through my training plan leading up to this race and how I'm preparing for it, what I'll be wearing, that kind of thing. And then through the magic of editing, once this run is done, we'll meet back up at the home studio and I'll walk you through turn by turn what the course is going to look like and how I'm going to approach it. The race itself is the Caney Fork 50K in Sparta, Tennessee. Up until this year, it was a 40-mile run, and they've knocked it down to 50K this year, which means I can actually run it. Sparta is a very small town, about an hour to the east of Nashville. It's not quite in the Great Smoky Mountains, but it's definitely like rolling hill country. I've been promised up to 6 waterfalls, and definitely some fun climbs. So, how am I training for this thing? What the heck am I doing out here today? Well, this is week 11, the tail end of week 11 of the Some Work All Play podcast's 50K intermediate and advanced plan. That's a whole lot to say. It was put together by David and Megan Roche. I hope I'm pronouncing that last name right. And I like it. Each workout and each week gives you a range of mileage to play with, so you can set your weekly mileage to what your legs are capable of, what you're comfortable with. And each week usually features some nice speed work, lactate threshold stuff, and then back-to-back long runs on trails on the weekends, which is where I'm at now. So for me personally, I was averaging about 55 to 60 miles per week, and I topped out with a 77-mile week a couple weeks ago. It's felt pretty comfortable. There weren't too many hiccups. A long weekend up in Colorado caused me to lose some weekend mileage, but not too much. I run the best in the cold weather anyway, so being able to run from January through March, I've just been thriving, loving it, every workout pretty much. A little swampy this morning. I will be sure to link the Some Work and All Play training plans in my video description because this is my second time I've used them for 50K and I loved it. I cannot ask for more. And they also have free plans up through the 200-mile distance, if you can believe it. So I might be sticking with them for a while. So what am I bringing? Let's start at the bottom with the first and most important, trail shoes. I'm not bringing road shoes to run a trail race. Even if the ground is dry, you're looking for poor traction, injury, slipping. You want something that has those tire treads on the bottom to really grip the mud and give you traction out there. Save your ankles. For what it's worth, I'm working with the Salomon Ultra Glide 2. They are my first trail shoes, so I don't have a lot to compare them against. But I give them a solid 7 out of 10. They get the job done. Wow. This is a great spot to highlight why you do not want waterproof shoes. You want shoes that are able to breathe and shoes that are able to dry off. Holy! I'm in up to my waist, dude. Oh my God, that is cold. But anyway, your feet are gonna get wet. Your legs are gonna get wet. So you don't want shoes that are just gonna be water buckets. You want something that drains. You want something that dries pretty quick. And for the record, my Salomons do that pretty well. And that goes into socks. You do not want cotton socks because they hold water, they hold moisture. You don't want sweaty feet. You don't want wet feet. You want to avoid that. So get something with some kind of tech fabric. I'm using Belega socks right now, but I just kind of chose them. I like them. Just avoid cotton. That's the important part about socks. And what you see here, that's kind of the getup of what I'm planning on wearing next weekend. Short shorts, because the shorter they are, the faster you are. I want a t-shirt because this hydration vest rubs on bare skin something fierce. And little chafes towards the beginning of a 50K become big chafes as you get to the end. You don't want to hop in the shower after a race and start screaming. Look at those turkeys. Bothered their morning. And for shirts, the wisdom that goes with socks also applies. You don't want cotton. You want something that's techy, light, and breathable. Highly visible too if you're gonna be in the remote woods. Finally, I like a ball cap. Keeps the sun out of my eyes. Allows me to push branches out of the way without using my hands. Keeps rain out of my eyes. It looks to be a rainy forecast for next week. So a ball cap's important, in my opinion, for that kind of thing. Before we stop talking about t-shirts, guys, Band-Aids for your nipples. Just do it. They will bleed. That's more chafing that you do not want in your life or all over one of your favorite t-shirts. Although I will be perusing whatever they have to offer in the aid stations during the race. I will be bringing some goos just to provide some of my own fueling out there, just in case whatever they have doesn't work with my stomach very well. Here's to breakfast, baby. Now, the centerpiece of any trail runner's toolbox is the hydration vest. This is a Solomon, I think it's like an Advanced Skin 12, and I like it. It allows me to breathe, it doesn't fit too tight. Help with these elastic bands on my chest. It has two 500 milliliter flasks in the front. Some vests have bladders in the back, and I don't want that because those are very hard to refill in the middle of a race, where these are just right up front. I'm gonna have one flask filled with water, and the other's gonna be filled with a sport drink of some kind. Just give me electrolytes, and give me the option of one or the other while I'm out there all by myself. No headphones. I'm not even sure if they're allowed. I'm gonna just take in the course, enjoy myself out there, live in the moment as much as I possibly can. I am bringing my phone for a few reasons. I'm told that the course is pretty remote, so I want to have something that I can use in case of emergency. Also, the course is really pretty, so I will be doing my best to document that over the course of my run. And I think that's really about it. I will not be using a mid-race drop bag, but I will have a change of clothes and a towel waiting for me when I get back. And hopefully a burrito. That river is so high.
All right, and just like that, I am back home, showered up, and ready to walk through my walk/run through of the Caney Fork 50K next week. So we're starting at the big red barn, which is at this green arrow. It is a single loop, counterclockwise, and what I would recommend at the very start is don't rush things. You're going to be out there for 30 plus miles, hours at a time. You do not need to be a hero straight out the gate. Ask me how I know. Okay, I'm going to pretend that you just asked me. My first 50K, I went out way too hard. I blew up at about mile 18 or so, and the next 10 miles were just a sufferfest. And I could have prevented that if I had just gone out at a more reasonable pace. I feel like the only way to learn these lessons is to experience them, but it's still worth saying out loud on a YouTube video. So, straight out of the gate, running at a manageable, easy, comfortable pace. We're just going to be traveling along. First couple miles they're pretty flat. Not very remarkable. Part of this is going to be on gravel road, by the way. As soon as you get to this left turn, though, right about here at 2.6 miles, we're going to be turning onto trails. We have a river crossing here at the third mile, and that's described by the race director as being about ankle deep, but it is fairly wide. But I like that we're getting our feet wet right off the bat. Like, forget it. You're going to be a little uncomfortable out there. This just kind of happens. So basically, right after that river crossing, you go for another half mile and you're showing up at West Johnson Road aid station. The race director says that this is here to spread out the course, but no one has any reason to stop at an aid station that is 3.5 miles into a 30 plus mile race. It's just not going to happen. My flasks are still going to be full unless they have something that looks extremely appetizing. If they had torta cubanas there, I might stop personally. But if they don't, I'm just going to keep going on my merry way, and I would suggest that you do too. Again, 3.5 miles into a race. Anyway, so we're just going along. Miles 5, mile 6, we're out on trails now. This is what it's all about. There's a lot of single track through here. That's my understanding. And at about mile 8.5, we're going to come across our first significant downhill of the day. It's about a 700-foot drop from top to bottom over the course of about, I don't know, where would you put that? A little over 1.5 miles, 1 3/4 probably. And at the bottom of that hill, you're going to find Lost Creek aid station. Lost Creek is 10.5 miles into the race. You just cross the dry creek, which is not dry, by the way, 3 times over the course of that downhill. So you're going to be going into Lost Creek aid station with some wet feet, but never fear. They'll dry pretty quick, right? As long as you're not wearing cotton socks. We talked about this. So in that aid station, I would refill both of my flasks. I would have one with water in it, and I would have the other with some sort of electrolyte drink in it. That's just how I like to roll. Also, maybe snack on something there. It's as much an eating competition as it is a running competition. So enjoy what they have out. Talk to the volunteers. Don't spend too much time there. Just get in, refill on liquids and solids, and head on out. Right after heading on out, we are at the bottom of a hill, so we're going to be climbing right back up. This is about a 630-foot climb, if I remember right. You see here through miles 11.2 through about mile 13. So about the half marathon mark is where we top out at this hill. And as soon as you get to the top, no rest for the wicked. Your quads are going straight back downhill, baby. Another 630-foot drop. And that's going to get you down to Virgin Falls. This is a photo opportunity. You could tell by that little camera icon that's next to Virgin Falls marked on the map there. And yeah, I just keep rolling. There's a few more water crossings through here. And your feet are pretty much just going to keep getting continually wet over the first half of this course. That's just my understanding anyway. Mosey on through, and about mile 17, we have reached the lowest part of the course. And what goes down must come up. And at this point, we start climbing. And we keep climbing. And for those of you who are not from West Tennessee, you might say that a 900-foot climb is no climb at all. But for someone like me, where my biggest hill is a local parking garage, it's going to be pretty tough. So I'm going to say goodbye to my quads at this point. Even walking up this hill, they're just going to be shot. And that's just how it happens, baby. And at the top of this hill is Welch's Point Overlook and Aid Station. Apparently, this is a gorgeous spot to take a photo and a nice place to set up a tent and have people in bag chairs groaning about their legs. I plan on being one of them. So take a picture, say hi to the aid people, top off your flasks, and we're just going to keep on moving, right? We're at the top of this hill, and there is some relative flatness over the next 6.5 miles, which I sure appreciate. I will say that me personally, at about this point in the race, I'll be taking a salt tab or two to make sure that my sodium stays up there, because that tends to be where I suffer in the later stages of a marathon or ultramarathon race. Anyway, small sidebar there. So we're going to keep going. Yeah, mile 22. Okay, we're just winding through. There is an aid station 2.5 miles after the Welch's Point Overlook, but again, it's just 2.5 miles. It's Polly's Branch Road aid station for the record. You don't really need to stop. You don't need to fill up your flasks. There is another aid station at mile 26.5. I don't know why Polly's Branch aid station is there at all. Her and Wes Johnson are just like, they get the award for like the least useful aid stations of the day. Maybe something is not being reflected in this course map that I'm just completely wrong there, but I really don't think you need to stop at either of those. Anyway, so we're moseying along this flat part of the course, and there's a big old hill. There's a big old downhill right about here. But at the bottom of that downhill, which is about a 500-foot drop, is our last aid station of the race. It's Scotts Gulf Road aid station, and here's where, once again, you stop, you top off, you have some pickles and Coca-Cola, maybe, whatever floats your boat at that point of the race, because weird things will float your boat in the race at this point. I guarantee it. You're at the marathon distance, and there are still more miles to go. Weird things start happening between your mind and stomach. Ask me how I know. So after Scotts Gulf aid station, you're topped up on water and electrolytes, you're topped off on food, and we're going on our merry way. There's a couple rollers through here. Not bad. You'll probably feel every slight bit of elevation change at this point of the race if you're like me. And once you get past those rollers, you're at mile 30. You are well past the marathon distance at this point and getting into the final miles of the race. So what does the course designer throw at us at this point? That's right, just one more climb. One more climb. 500 feet, just to test your mettle, baby. Oh, you'll feel every step here. You will wonder why you ever signed up for this thing. But at the very top, you are suddenly back at the elevation that we started at, about 1,700 feet above sea level. And all that's left is one glorious victory mile, cruising back in to the Red Barn. And that's it. We have done the Caney Fork 50K. That's how I plan on this going down next Saturday. And we'll see if it actually works out that way. Everyone knows the best laid plans are just a joke to the universe. So this is my prayer to the chaos of the universe, that hopefully it goes something like that. At least I have some kind of idea of what I'm getting into next week. And that is my complete overview. How I've trained for this thing, what I'll be wearing, how I'll be approaching this race, and finally, what I think the course looks like from this bird's eye view that you and I can both see. So thank you for watching, thank you for following along, and I'll see you after the race for my race recap of the Caney Fork 50K. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, maybe subscribe so you don't miss that follow-up video, and I'll see you out there on the trails. Take care of yourselves. I'm out of here.